What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourselves. So today we got a really good one. We got the U.S. fighter pilot who was shot down states that Iran has some alarming jellyfish-like drones before he went into his crash. So let's get into it. So as you know, in April, we had a couple of U.S. aircraft shot down. There was an F-15 pilot that shared his encounter, and then they had two, I believe. Let me get the actual model numbers here. Two C-130s, I want to say. Let me pull this up. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Two MC-130J aircraft, each worth $100 million, were demolished in place so as to not fall into enemy hands. There were no U.S. deaths. But the interesting thing, and the thing I want to talk about mostly in this podcast, is the fact that he stated that this was some real alien shit. That was his exact quote. A U.S. pilot who was rescued after his plane was shot down in Iran, chillingly recalled, and this is from the U.S. Post, being swarmed by Iranian drones that moved together in unison in a jellyfish-like formation. What have we seen over in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan in some of these government-released videos? We've seen and we've heard of these jellyfish drones, and they just look like they have tentacles coming out the bottom, and they look like they have like a head. And then when they're zoomed in on, that's the craziest thing, is when they're zoomed in on, they actually look like they're a body spacesuit for a small gray alien to float around in. Almost like a hovering device, like a biomech, like an Iron Man type suit for them to just kind of hover around the battlefield, see what's going on, maybe relay intel, and just kind of overall get a surveillance of the scene. Maybe they have some sort of shield around them so that they can't get hit. Because, I mean, these things look smaller than you would think, right? I mean, a small gray is like 3 foot or 4 foot tall. Not very big. And even being in a biomech suit, if it got hit with anything, it would be demolished. So it has to have some sort of shield around it. But anyway, he said this is some real alien shit. He said multiple drones interconnected, moving as one, with smaller drones below the bigger drones like legs. Like, basically what he's describing is basically like a shield. Like, America likes to think that we have like an Iron Dome, and we like to think that we helped Israel get their Iron Dome. But at the end of the day, I don't know what we have. The government won't tell us. They're not going to give that information out. But they are telling us about like these crazy drones that are overseas. And what we're hearing is that they have these like weird squid-like drones that fly in unison. We've seen this from China. China has the most sophisticated drones. They're the ones that sell them mostly. America needs to catch up in our production. I think we only have 2 companies that are in the top 10, and we're not in the top 5. China and Japan have the top, I think, 5 companies that sell the most drones in the world. But this may or may not be alien. This particular event may or may not be alien. Now, is it common practice for us to hear about aliens interfering with humans, just straight up war battles that don't involve nuclear weapons? Not usually, but if we did have a nuclear weapon on board, they would have messed with us. They could have just deactivated it, right? But in this case, it actually made the craft crash. Now, we've made alien craft crash, so maybe they don't give a shit if our craft crash, as long as they get what they want out of it. As long as a nuclear weapon isn't shot off or some other kind of destruction happening. That's what I'm thinking. But again, I could be, anybody could be wrong here. But these jellyfish-like drones are interesting to hear about because we're not just hearing about it from pilots. We've also seen drones that look very similar to other drones that we've seen online. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, so let's take a look at this here. All right. And minefield of drones is what the pilot said. He said they were hovering in the air, and he stated that this is what he encountered. The pilot and the weapons system specialist, which there's always two Air Force individuals in a craft at any time, right? So the pilot and the weapons systems officer both ejected from the jet on Good Friday. The first time in the conflict a U.S. plane was shot down in Iranian skies. The pilot was quickly rescued hours later on April 3rd, but the weapons officer, who was seriously injured, had been forced into hiding in the Zagros Mountains for more than a day after Iran placed a bounty on his head of $60,000, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's not clear if the weapons officer witnessed the Iranian drones, according to CNN. Intelligence officials have been debating about what to make of the pilot's account, according to the U.S. Post here, whether he remembered the incident clearly after suffering a concussion from the crash. I don't care if you're suffering from a concussion from the crash. That just affects your biological, interpretation of, the world moving forward. It doesn't affect your memory, as far as I'm aware. This same pilot was actually involved in a friendly fire incident in Kuwait on March 2nd, in which Kuwaiti's air defense forces accidentally fired on 3 F-15 Strike Eagle jets. All 6 crew members were forced to eject, landed safely with the allied nation. So we're allied with Kuwait because we helped them out back in the 90s. Let's see. During the rescue operation for the pilot, a U.S. helicopter was struck by small arms fire but landed safely. Several crew members were wounded. So the officer reportedly managed to scale a 7,000-foot ridge to evade capture for 36 hours with just a handgun for defense, while American drones pounded nearby Iranian forces with missiles if they got close to his position. Well, that's nice. At the same time, and this is kind of interesting because it makes me think of Homeland. If you've ever seen that with Claire Danes, great show. But it really shows how the CIA works. They'll go overseas and they'll pull missions and pretend they're certain people and get assets to help them move people around. And the CIA pulled off a diversion, planting fake intel that he had already been rescued and was being driven out of Iran, the New York Times reported. So the CIA got involved as well, which makes sense. The operation involved landing multiple transport aircraft on an ad hoc landing strip deep in Iranian territory just south of the city after the officer's emergency beacon was tracked to the mountain. There was no U.S. deaths among the rescue. That's pretty cool. So I like the story. I'm glad that he's saved. Man, if you see, this crash, there is nothing left. It's a good thing they ejected because this shit got just demolished, man. There's just pieces of craft, and I'm talking small pieces, not big. But whether it's alien or whether it's, Iranian, either way, you have to wonder who's got the upper hand here. I mean, we always think the Air Force and America, the United States, has the best military, but at the end of the day, man, it sounds like Iran's got some tricks up their sleeve, and they've made us crash a couple times, and we need to be able to be aware of this because, I mean, if they got stuff we don't know about and we didn't watch it with our satellites, couldn't see it with our satellites, they must have been like practicing with this stuff inside of a building and us not being able to see it. The other thing that's interesting too is that the government, I mean, the high up intelligence in the government has the capability to see within buildings. So how come we didn't see this within the building itself as well? Like I'm thinking, well, geez, we should have been able to capture some of this information from within the building itself. We should be monitoring all of their military buildings, for any information if they're our main target right now. Divert maybe attention away from other projects if need be and pull it into Iran and look out for these types of drones because this is dangerous, man. So, what do you think? What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? Are you concerned that Iran was able to take one of our aircraft down? Are you concerned about these weird jellyfish-like drones? Are these drones the same types of drones that we saw before? I don't think so because the pilot was stating that they were multiple drones that were working together, interlocking together, and then, piecing it out into a kind of like a minefield, he said. So it wasn't just one, gray and an Iron Man bodysuit jellyfish drone type thing floating around like we've captured before. This is like multiple huge swaths of airspace covered in drones working cohesively together. Maybe they got them from China. I mean, China's got all this stuff, and I think they're friends with China. So it wouldn't surprise me. The axis of evil is what they're talking about, and it was like Iraq, Iran. I don't know if China was in it as well. I don't know if Russia was in it as well. I have to take a look. But anyway, what do you think? Put your comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. All right, I'm going to go. I hope you guys are doing well, taking care of yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally, following through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. Take it easy. Take life easy. Nobody's going to make it out of life alive. So if you're dealing with tough stuff, it's okay. We're gonna get through it. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care. Post in the comments if there's anything interesting we want me to do a podcast on. Love to hear it. And Lockdown Universe out. Peace.